Not that I'm aware of, Pete. No. I think everybody's busy with back to school. Pete, can you check your microphone?
Yes, I can,
There you go,
Scott.
thank you.
Budget Finance Committee did not meet last Wednesday. We do have some meetings coming up. We start our first of number of budget meetings coming up, starting Wednesday morning at 8:30. Certainly keep an eye out on our website for meetings that are coming up. Public certainly welcome to participate and be a part of this. That's it.
Thanks, John. And then the Health Department report, just so everybody, I just received this from Monica, just as I was walking in. The 2024 annual report is in. The rest of the reports are online for anyone who'd like to read those. Consent agenda. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by John,
Second.
second by Tiffany. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain?
Abstain.
Okay.
Cecilia.
Cecilia Coble abstains because she wasn't here last meeting. Moving on to the regular agenda. Resolution 081825A.
Turn that mic on. The item before you follows Resolution R072125 that was approved last month. If you'll recall, we previously identified surplus bond proceeds in the December 2024 issued general obligation bond, and these proceeds will be used to acquire and improve real estate for public purposes. So this next step is a legal and statutory step to transfer these proceeds to the Town Hall Building Corporation so they can in turn acquire the real estate. Happy to answer any questions.
Thanks. Any questions for Lisa? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion.
So moved.
Motion by John,
Second.
second by Todd. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Oh, I'm sorry, that's right, we have one person online. Sorry, Selena. Okay, moving on to, I guess we do have to do a roll call vote. Okay, Jen, you want to do that for me?
Pete Peterson,
Yes.
John DeLucia. John Weingart,
Aye.
Cecilia Coble.
Aye.
Selena Stoller. Todd Zimmerman,
Aye.
Tiffany Ditlevson. The motion passes.
Thanks, Jen.
I'm sorry, Bill Stewart.
Oh,
Bill.
Aye. Thank you, Jim.
that's what happens when you sit in the end, Bill.
And you're little.
Item number 9, 081825. Lindsay?
Good evening, Council. Lindsay Bennett, Corporation Counsel. I'm here tonight on an amendment to the Property Maintenance Code. As you probably remember, last month you passed the Property Maintenance Code, and in that time there was a Court of Appeals case that came out that kind of affected the violations section, and essentially it said if you have a punitive section that you need to really be specific about what that punitive section says. So after we looked at it and we went over our procedure internally, I felt, we probably need to flush this out a little bit just to make sure we don't get crossways with that new case. So that's essentially what this is doing. It follows a little bit more closely what our internal procedure is, and that will be when we have a property maintenance violation, we'll start with a notice of violation and give the property owner a time period to correct that violation. We'll schedule that next inspection, we'll go out and inspect, and then we will cite for that violation. And we also wanted to be clear that it is a per day violation, per day, per violation. So you could have several different violations and you could have that fine apply each day. So we just wanted to be a little bit more specific in that to make sure everybody understood that is a possibility to have a daily fine and also what that fine will be. And then if those fines are not paid, they do continue to accumulate each day. And if they go a period of 30 days, then the zoning administrator will send that to me for enforcement. So again, just trying to kind of flush out that actual procedure to make sure we don't get crossways with that new case.
Sure.
Thanks, Lindsay. Any questions for staff?
I have a question.
Yep.
So what happens if a citation is written in error?
In error?
In error, yeah. It's incorrect.
Yeah, so if there's a citation that's in error, there is an ability for the person who receives the citation to go into the Ordinance Violations Bureau and deny it. And then it would be set for trial, and then we would go to trial on that, and then we would bring in evidence that would say, yes, this person is in violation, and then they could bring in evidence, even if it's just their testimony, to say, no, this wasn't actually in violation, and then a judge would determine from there.
So if an ordinance is, if somebody receives a violation for high grass on a plot of land that is adjacent to their property but belongs to the HOA, they receive the violation, and then they just wait and go to court?
So hydrants and grass are a little bit different. It's under a totally different statutory scheme, requires different notices to be sent, and as you're probably aware, we do have the ability to go onto the property and actually mow the grass after a period of time and then bill the owner for that. So in that case, I would definitely encourage that property owner who's received the citation to reach out to our code enforcement office and then just provide evidence that they don't own that piece of property. And if they do get the bill, that is certainly something that we can do internally to make sure that we make it right and that they're not receiving an invoice for mowing that's not actually theirs. So, I feel like our code enforcement office is pretty good about, first of all, getting the right property owner, and then second, if for whatever reason it is the wrong property owner, we can certainly fix that. I never feel comfortable taking an ordinance violation against a property owner without making sure we are going through all the proper steps to make sure that it is the person that should be cited.
So I only bring it up because it happened right after our meeting last month. Property owner got a violation for high grass. The plot of land belonged to the HOA. Called the office. No one answered the phone or got back to them. So I guess my concern is that whatever we write, it has a little bit of common sense and kindness to it, so that if somebody receives something and it's not their land, it's not their fault, while the time is ticking on this ordinance and the fines, that there's also kind of this back end to say, hey, this isn't my piece of land. What is the corrective measure? Phone calls were made. The office didn't get back with them. Are there enough people in the enforcement office to answer the phones and reply to residents?
Well, I am not over the code enforcement office, but this is not something that I hear a lot. And I would say if there are violations that come up or if there are issues with property owners, the next step usually is to me to say, hey, they directed me to you. What can I do? And I don't get a whole lot of those, but that being said, mistakes can be made. We certainly would remedy those so that we're not citing the wrong person or property owner.
So, Councilman Dellison, I'm not familiar with the situation you're talking about, but if you could provide us the contact information, we'll sure look it up. And certainly that's not indicative of how we plan to handle this process. If someone has an issue or concern, we want to make sure that we respond. And at any point leading up to a court hearing, if someone were to reach out and say, well, I have information that says that this isn't my property or that there was a misunderstanding, our people have the administrative ability to void out that violation if need be. They wouldn't have to wait for a judge. If they said, look, I don't own this property, and they could show that, it would be within the purview of our administration to be able to say, okay, we understand that we're not going to take this all the way to court. So I don't want to leave anyone with the impression here tonight that once a citation is written, the only relief that someone would have if there's a gross injustice would be that they have to go to court. Is that fair, Lindsay?
Yeah, that is fair to say. And then with high weeds and grass, it does kind of follow a totally different statutory scheme and procedural scheme that is not covered in these amendments here tonight. But the code enforcement office, to the mayor's point, does have the administrative ability to go in and void out any fines or any fees that they may receive from the contractor that did the mowing. In this case, on these changes tonight, kind of the same thing. If somebody gets a citation for, graffiti on the side of their wall, and they're saying, this isn't my building, this isn't my property, well, we would certainly take a look at that before we start, probably even the citations. It would be part of the notice, the initial notice of violation to say, hey, we see graffiti on your wall, please remedy this by painting over it with a color that is similar to the other walls, and please have that done within 30 days, and then we're going to come out and inspect at day 35. And then if in that period of time, they're saying, this isn't even my building, we certainly would go back and look at that and make sure we get the right person, because really what we're trying to do is correct the violation, not get to the citations. We want compliance, not to have to go to court and find property owners.
I appreciate that, because court is such a big word for a lot of people.
Sure.
So thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
If seeing none, I'll take a motion to suspend the rules and approve on first reading.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules.
Motion by John,
Second.
second by Cecilia. Roll call vote, please, John? Yes.
John DeLucia. John Weingart. Cecilia Coble.
Aye.
Selena Stoller. Todd Zimmerman. Tiffany Detlefsen.
Aye.
Bill Stewart.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. And now I'll take a motion to approve.
Motion approved.
Motion by John. Second by Todd. John?
Pete Peterson.
Yes.
John DeLucia.
Yes.
John Weingart. Cecilia Coble.
Aye.
Selena Stoller. Todd Zimmerman. Tiffany Detlefsen.
Aye.
Bill Stewart.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thanks, John. Moving on to item 10. Thanks, Lindsay. Item 10, 061625B, Ross.
Good evening. For the record, Ross Hillary, Community and Economic Development. Before you tonight is, there we go, ordinance 061625B. This is the weather type roofing rezone. This is the proposed final reading. For location, this is a consideration of 1.13 acres from R2 residential to C1 commercial with conditions for an office, showroom, and shop for a local roofing company. The timeline before you was we had first reading back in June. We had a neighborhood meeting in July at the adjacent church, which we did not have anyone come to that neighborhood meeting. We had a public hearing at Plan Commission and final reading here tonight. Those dates are incorrect. This is located in our comprehensive plan under our neighborhood service center, which does allow for commercial and retail use as a land use. I want to show you this site plan. This is within the ordinance. We are not approving any architecture tonight, so they would be required to meet all UDO standards for architecture. This is a site plan with the extension of 118th Street to the end of their second drive. The conditions that staff has worked on with the petitioner are included here. If it is not a roofing company, the uses that would be permitted are an office, medical office, beauty hair salon, day spa, or nail salon. We have lighting limitations, which are similar to other adjacent C1 with condition uses. The building and site plan would be substantially similar to what is included in the ordinance, including parking. There is to be no outdoor storage of materials from day one, and they are required to annex into the city. Here is a visual for assistance, but again, this will have to meet all UDO requirements in regards to architecture. This did go before our Plan Commission in August. It has a recommendation of 7-0. One of the items on there was a question about the extension of 118th Street to connect to the Kroger stub right there. Engineering has said at the time of the reconstruction of 118th Street, when and if that happens, that connection would be made, but it will not be made as part of this rezone. Staff is happy to answer any questions. I do recommend approval with C1 commercial with the conditions that are shown on the screen. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Ross? Selena, did you have questions?
I just want to make sure that some of the issues that were brought up by one of the adjacent property owners, that those were addressed. That is, people forwardly taking 103 and Warwick over to Kroger. I think we need to put out there or the street
You broke up a bit there, so maybe Ross can remember from Planning Commission.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. So 11805, the adjacent or catty corner residential property, was in attendance, and they did provide some public comments. One being that there is existing trespassing from their neighborhood to Kroger through this property. Both those residents as well as the property owner have concerns with that. So there will be some fencing and berming along the edge there. Another concern was their privacy of their pool, and so the property owner also wants to have good privacy. So we require buffering, a minimum of 10 feet with landscaping. There's a lot of existing landscaping that the petitioner also wants to keep. So those were the two main concerns
Okay.
from the resident.
Any other questions by council? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Motion by John, second by Tiffany. John?
Pete Peterson?
Yes.
John DeLucia? Yes. John Weingart? Cecilia Coble?
Aye.
Selena Stoller?
Aye.
Todd Zimmerman? Tiffany Detlefsen? Bill Stewart?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thanks, John. Moving on to item 11.
Yes, before you, Ross Hillary, before you is Resolution 081825B. This is for a special exception. We are taking this as a first reading and public hearing tonight. You guys have not had a special exception before you. This previously went before our Board of Zoning Appeals, but in our UDO update, we moved new schools and new churches before council. So this is that first iteration of that tonight. This is a consideration of a special exception to allow for preschool use on the property zoned RT residential, known as Cornerstone Lutheran Church Fishers, common address of 13450 East 116th Street. Cornerstone Lutheran Church is planning a 29,000 square foot expansion and outdoor playground area to provide a preschool. This includes approximately 200 students. Before you tonight, we are requesting a first reading and public hearing, and then we plan to come back with any questions you might have for a final reading in September. In the packet that was provided, here is a concept plan that shows where the church plans to expand on the west side of their building, and I'll get to this in a second. There's also a planned road connection, again, to 118th Street shown here. In the council packet, there were two engineering memos, one from ANF Engineering. We went ahead and took the lead that there may be some concerns about traffic, adding 200 students Monday through Friday, where we did not have that before. So ANF Engineering has provided that memo for you for a level of service for the intersection on 116th Street. And then we also have a memo from our engineering department concerns with that southbound approach at 116th, and is recommending that connection to 118th Street to be open at all times.
Help me out with where this is located, Ross.
Yes, sir. So this is, that large building there is the same Kroger at Oleo, 116th Street, the rezone that we just talked about.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Just to the south.
Okay.
Do not have my petitioner here. I think they thought they were going to go a little bit later in the evening. This does require a public hearing, and again, happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for Ross?
Thank you for the traffic report. It was really nice.
Seeing no questions, I'm going to open it up for public hearing. Anyone who wishing to speak in this item, please step forward to the mic, give your name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes in which to speak. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Any other questions for staff or anybody?
Well, we may want to, so the petitioner's not here.
Yes, Karen Collins, I do not see her yet.
Okay. So Pete and all, we've had conversations and frustrated residents along 116th Street right there with regard to the salon that we approved by a narrow margin before and stuff. So, we need to take in consideration. I know there was a discussion about kind of a uniform approach going forward with regard to development along that corridor. Now, the church is obviously there, already established, but adding, additional services and stuff, I wouldn't normally be opposed to. It's just, I know that that's gonna be concerns, so.
Yeah, Todd, I echo your sentiments. I've got
I mean-
issues all along from a number of issues on it. It's only a first reading. If someone wants to give it a first reading, so be it.
Karen Collins is here, if you
Okay.
mind giving her a couple minutes to
Okay.
debrief.
Be happy to give the petitioner some time.
Sorry, I thought it was towards the end of the, you guys are moving fast. So Cornerstone Lutheran.
Just go ahead and you state your name and address for the record.
Sorry.
Yep.
Karen Collins. I'm with CEC. My address, do you need the address as well, or? 530 East Ohio Street, Suite G in Indianapolis. And I'm on behalf of the petitioner for Cornerstone Lutheran. They are planning or proposing a development for an early childhood development center at its property located at 13450 East 116th Street in Fishers, Indiana. The expansion will consist of approximately 29,000 square feet of the building on the west side of the existing church. Initially, the church plans to enroll about 150 children, ages 0 to 5, with the capacity to increase enrollment to 175. The preschool will operate from 6 to 6, Monday through Friday, and it will feature a gymnasium that will be available for public use. To address the traffic concerns identified by Fisher's Engineering Department, a new driveway off the east parking lot will be constructed and extend to 118th Street. And Cornerstone Lutheran is requesting a special exception to permit the preschool use on their property, which is currently zoned R2.
Any questions for the petitioner? Thanks, Karen.
Sure.
Hey, do we know, is 118th Street ours?
Yes.
It is now? Okay. All right, well, it's open for a first reading if someone wants to give it a first reading. Okay, Bill gave you a first reading, so we'll move on.
I do think what we'll do, as Councilmember Zimmerman referred to, we'll pull back some of that information, some of those concerns that we did spend an awful lot of time on when that hair salon came in, and incorporate some of those thoughts and comments into the discussion about traffic here, because
Yeah, I just don't want to go through,
Yeah, no, absolutely.
regurgitating everything that we
Yeah.
went through before.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Ross, item 12.
Yes, Ross Hillary for the record. This is ordinance 081825A, annexation for the property located at 10516 Collingswood Lane. It's a request to approve a voluntary annexation of 0.69 acres. This is a voluntary annexation for new home construction. The timeline for this is first reading and public hearing tonight, and final reading and fiscal plan to you in September. Happy to answer any
Are the
questions.
adjacent properties already in the city?
The properties off of Tremont Circle are.
Okay.
The properties on Collingswood Lane are not.
So the ones on Collingswood Lane that I'm looking at that's going down to this property are not, so we're jumping over those?
This would be the first property along Collingswood Lane
Right.
that would be annexed into this.
Have we talked to the other property owners?
Not particularly, no.
Okay,
This is just new construction and we required it to be
right,
annexed.
I get it. Just if those guys are sitting there unincorporated, and I think it's worth at least a letter, just ask them if they want to go ahead and annex themselves in at the
Correct.
same time, so just be my first thought, but it's only a first reading, it is a public hearing. Any questions for Ross? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to open up the public hearing on this item. Anyone wishing to speak, come to the microphone, state your name and address for record. You'll be given 3 minutes in which to speak. Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. Huh?
Can I make a motion to suspend and pass it first?
I wish you wouldn't, but that's okay. No, that's fine. I don't think so, no, because annexation law doesn't allow us to do that. So we can have a first reading on it, and then we can come back with a fiscal plan and second reading, so those are statutory
first
things.
reading,
Yeah,
yeah.
so we got first reading by Tom. All right, moving on to any, thank you, Ross. Any unfinished or new business? No, okay. I'll open it up for community comment. Please come to the microphone with your community comment. state your name and address for the record. You'll be given 3 minutes in which to speak.
Good evening, Council. Michael Colby, 7105 Cold Lake Drive here in Fishers. And I come before you tonight just to kind of bring something to your attention, some of you may know. I attended a election board meeting last week, and the county is considering going to voting centers. Now, what that'll do is voting centers will be dictated by the number of voters we have, plus the ability of the county to get a location that can accommodate a large crowd. So the building has to be available in the parking lot. Give you some figures, there's 278,990 registered voters in Hamilton County, and active voters are 265,199. 13,791 are inactive. Now, what will happen is currently, when you have election day, you must vote in your precinct. And so what this will do will be set up similar to what the early voting center is. They'll have ballots for all the precincts. They'll eliminate the precinct locations. And then we'll have 52 vote centers, and they'll be open on primary election day and the general election from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Now, what this does is, if someone shows up at a poll location, a lot of times they might get there 5:45, and they're in the wrong location, so they don't get to vote. Whereas with a vote center, they show up, they can vote, because they can go anywhere in the county, and the ballot will be on the machine. There'll be 10 machines and 4 poll clerks. Now, to give you an idea, the cost of doing the 2024 election, salary, training, and meals and supplies was $156,590. That's what it cost. Cost of election day, poll workers, if they use the voting centers, would be $99,320. So there's a significant savings. As I said, there'll be in 2024 general election, there was 111 inspectors, 255 clerks, 356 judges. With 52 voting centers, there'll be 52 inspectors, or managers, they're now calling them managers, 208 clerks, 208 judges. So you can see it'll be a reduction. Those of you who pulled together polling locations before, you know sometimes it's like pulling eye teeth to get someone to come in and vote. I mean work. So as I said, at this point, it's really being considered. Anyone has any questions or wants any input, you can contact Kathy Richardson's office. They had the meeting last week, and I think it's a 30-day time period for anyone who has any questions or want to make any inputs. I think I'm out of time.
Thank you, Mike. Anyone else wishing to speak? Name and address for the record.
Casey Crosby, 6611 Manchester Drive. Mr. Mayor, Mr. City Manager, Mr. President, the rest of the council, I appreciate your time. I was here about 5 months ago when I first found out about the Fishers Agri-Park West. As you can see, I've got an Agri-Park hat. First off, I want to say that I'm a very big supporter of the Agri-Park. I think it's a great idea. I just think the location's wrong, as I mentioned to you guys 5 months ago. Let me explain to you again one of the big reasons. Lead-tainted soil is dangerous to the public. I live adjacent to this property, and I know your first thought is NIMBY. It's not NIMBY, because I'm okay with a park if I wasn't concerned about the lead contamination. The lead contamination in my backyard showed up. I had 8 spots sampled. I sent the results into IU, or sent the samples into IU Indianapolis, nonprofit. One of those 8 came back with 162 parts per million, which is considered moderate. And I don't even live close to the airport, in my opinion. But that was concerning for me as an individual who's had kids grow up in our yard and never thinking about this before until this park and thinking more and more about the lead. I have not seen any results. We had a public neighborhood meeting shortly after we had that meeting in City Council back in April. They came out and did tests a few weeks later. I saw them doing the testing, and I never saw any results. And at this point, I would question those results based on my own results because I live farther away than where the property was being tested. So, as a result of that, I'm asking for another testing done, nonprofit. I'm asking for those results to be made public, the results back in the April time period, and the results whenever they do the testing again. I'm also wanted to mention to you some concerns I have with the fact that none of this has ever made the Board of Zoning Appeals. None of this has made the Planning Commission. There's been no discussion at all. Even the current doesn't show the adjacent properties when they show the picture of the future Agri Park West. It's as if these people don't matter. They do matter. If they start turning up the dust every year, and even when they first start up, I don't want that lead dust clouds headed towards my house. I'll be honest. I don't want that. And I don't think anyone else in my street or any of the adjacent properties want that. But at this point, we don't have a say because there is no rezoning requirements at all. We're being left out. I looked under the land use code plans for 2040 and also for the allowances. That property is still zoned Metropolitan Airport. There was agreements made back 8 years ago between the city and the Airport Authority to make changes to the zoning south of 106.
Thank you, sir. So we'll go ahead, and the mayor's going to take this under advisement, obviously work with the health department, and someone will get back to you in due course.
Yeah, absolutely, Pete. We certainly will. Just to, for your awareness, sir, we are still going through the due diligence phase. We did have A&L Great Lakes Laboratories conduct a sample of lead, and it came at 26.6 parts per million. We're currently working on a traffic study to understand how it'll affect that roadway, and still working through the lease with the Indianapolis Airport Authority, but more to come on this.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Please come up and state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, I'm going to close the public comment. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Motion by Todd. We're adjourned.